Reality check for book authors. If you are a senior citizen like me in multimedia, a novelist or nonfiction published book author, or a non-published book author, whether you write plays, poetry, novels, skits, life story highlights, nonfiction, journalism, or any other type of writing, if you're tired of rejections from the works that you have written and revised and edited over and over and over again for the past 40 or 50 years, and are a member of Writers Over Age 70 and would like to have your novel published for free at no cost to the author, why not try certain types of print-on-demand publishing that do not charge a fee to have your manuscript published as a book? There are quite a few print-on-demand publishers who do charge fees. So do your homework and check them out. Do thorough research and find out how much you would like to pay, and if joining certain types of writers associations reduce the fee, research that field. Here's a reality check for book authors. Your goal as a book author is to expand your platform, your visible expertise. And books are published mainly based on the visible expertise of your platform. And what is your platform? It's not only your visible expertise, but how you present it as a public speaker. Now, how do you expand your platform? Let's take an example. Suppose you have written your greatest novel where you have done the best work you could have done for what you have, because you always do the best you can with what you have and what you can do. Perhaps you're a retired teacher, or you've taught creative writing at the college level for years, or journalism, or perhaps you're a freelance writer. Whatever the avenue that you are coming from, if you go to certain types of print-on-demand publishing where the reader buys the book and the book is printed on demand upon request and then sent to the reader, you can have these books published for free or for a fee. One of my books, for example, is published at Lulu.com that charges absolutely nothing at this time to upload your manuscript to the web, and you can upload a video, an audio, or a print manuscript and offer it for sale at a price that you determine with a minimum price based on the publisher. And there are quite a few print-on-demand publishers, so check them out. Some do charge fees, some don't. Or you can buy the software yourself and print on demand and bind the book and sell it as someone demands or requests the book. You print it and then mail it out. You don't necessarily have to wait for a major mainstream publisher to buy your book, give you an advance, and sell the book before something comes into print. You don't necessarily have to have an agent to sell your book, because waiting for an agent could take decades, or an agent can find you immediately. It all depends. It's a matter of how your book fits into the scheme of the book list. Perhaps you've had a book published and it went out of print, or you had a book published and it didn't quite meet the quota of sales required to be in print in a second edition. Perhaps you're a mid-list author and sold according to a mid-list, and that's why your book went out of print, because it didn't jump from the mid-list to the bestseller category. Or perhaps you've written something that you would love to have published, sent it out for years, and it was rejected based on not matching the right manuscript with the right editor. It just wasn't a good fit. It didn't reflect your editing. You didn't have all those typos in the book, and the plot was fairly good, but the match wasn't there. Your book was a square peg in a round hole, as they say, or just a mismatch that doesn't reflect anything on your writing. We know how hard you worked to write that book. You researched it for years. You've revised it. You've edited it. You've taken courses to learn how to edit your book, and you tried to please and please and please for years, and you still received a wallpaper wall full of paper rejections. So what? You can still have that book in print and give it to anyone you want. You can send that book to your friends, your relatives, your students. You can be a published author for free or at a reasonable price that's affordable. What you need to do is this reality check for book authors. As a college-level teacher of creative writing who has retired years ago and who is now a full-time book author and freelance writer called an independent journalist, I have seen 11 of my books published by mainstream publishers. Eventually, after the 70s and 80s, those books went out of print. Now, how do I get them back in print again? You would have to buy your publishing rights if the publisher didn't give you the publishing rights back at either a fee or no fee. Perhaps the books were put into the copyright of your agent or of the publisher, and you're not able to get your publishing rights back because the books were not copyrighted originally in the author's name. Look into this, do your research, and find out from your book's legal department and permission department who is able to even receive back the publishing rights long after a book goes out of print. So do your homework and research. What's your goal as a book author? It's to expand your platform, your visible expertise. That's only one way of building additional audiences once you've written a book. How do you begin? You write a new book proposal emphasizing what is different about your platform, your topic of expertise, and what is the fresh news angle regarding your next marketing strategy. Your objective is to convince publishers, editors, agents, and your potential readers and viewers that the market for your book is significantly larger than the audience for your previous book. But what if you're like me, over 65, over 75, over 80, and still want to start your writing right now and have it published within the next 4 to 6 weeks? Then you would go to a print-on-demand publisher if you wanted to avoid the hassle of self-publishing and being a warehouse filled with your books. Remember the stereotypical image of the romance writer who's 98 years old and drives a beautiful car and has books piled up in a warehouse that no one buys. Don't put yourself in that position. If you write romance or any other type of novel, I write time travel adventure novels set in historical, ancient, or medieval settings. What you want to do is publish a book one at a time so that when one person buys the book, it's then printed and then mailed to the person, or mailed to the bookstore and then picked up by the person from the bookstore. And that's why print-on-demand works for us writers over 65, over 75, over 85 who have begun their writing careers at any stage. I have begun my writing career at the age of 11 and a half in the 7th grade. And I've written freelance more than 2 or 3 books a year since 1963, with the majority of books coming out from mainstream publishers during the 1980 to 1990